Hello, this video is going to focus on dividing fractions. In this problem here, we have 1/3 divided by 4. To solve, start with a whole. Now, split the whole into 3 pieces and fill in just one section. Next, split 1/3 into 4 groups because notice we're dividing by 4. This shows the size of each individual piece. To figure out the size of each piece in comparison to the whole, split the whole into 4 groups. Each piece, if you look at this figure, is 1/12 of the whole. And that's going to tell you what the answer to the problem is. 1/3 divided by 4 equals 1/12. Your goal is to figure out the value of this individual piece, which will tell you the answer to this problem, which is 1/12. In this problem, it's a little bit different. Notice we have 3 divided by 1/7. Unlike the previous problem, we have the whole number first. This is saying how many 1/7 are there in 3 wholes. And notice in this figure, it already drew out one whole, another whole, and another whole, representing the 3 wholes that you originally have. Each whole is now broken into 7 equal pieces. Now, if you were to count how many 7s there are, that will give you the answer to this problem. So now I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, giving me an answer to this problem of 21 pieces, showing me that there are 21 1/7 in these 3 wholes. Now for these 2 figures, I put them on the same page because I wanted to show you the difference between the 2 types of problems you will be given in 5th grade. Now notice we have 2 divided by 1/5. Again, I started with 2 wholes and I'm determining how many 1/5 are in each of these wholes. So I'm going to break this now into 5 equal pieces, and I'm going to do the same for this whole as well. Now I'm going to count how many 1/5 I see in each of these wholes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, giving me an answer of 10. However, this one we have 1/7 divided by 2. And notice we're starting with that fraction that's less than 1. My goal here is now to start with 1 whole. I first broke this into 2 pieces, and then in the other direction I broke it into 7 equal pieces. My goal here is to find the value of this individual piece, showing me that here I have 1/14 as my answer. And notice here I'm looking at that small individual piece of my whole. What is that value of that little tiny piece? You have 1/7 and now you're looking at that individual piece to give you that answer. You're starting with a small piece of a whole and it's getting even smaller, which is why your answer is going to be a small fraction, something that is less than 1. While here, you're starting with that whole number and it's going to continue to get larger. Now let's practice. 3 divided by 1/5. Now notice again you have that whole number and it's going to become a larger answer. Also, a whole number is your answer. Many of you might have recognized you can take your 3 and simply multiply this by the reciprocal of 1/5. The reciprocal of 1/5 would be 5/1, which is simply 5, showing you that your answer here, 3 times 5, is 15. Let's try that for this one as well. We have 1/3, and notice here we can multiply by the reciprocal of 4, which is 1/4, giving me an answer of 1/12. Now in this problem as well, notice here we started with already a fraction, something less than 1, and we're breaking that small piece into 4 pieces, creating an even smaller piece as my answer. While here, we're starting with the whole and we're breaking that into more pieces, giving me a larger number for my answer. Notice whatever your first number is going to play a role in whatever your answer or your quotient to these problems are. Now let's try this in a real world problem. An aquarium had 6 tons of fish food. How many months would it take them to use it all if they used 1/7 of a ton each month? Now, my first goal when I'm dealing with these word problems is to determine what is my whole that I have. An aquarium had 6 tons of fish food. That's the whole amount they have. And they're breaking that now divided by 1/7 of a ton each month. So now you could choose to draw a model, you can use a number line, whatever you would like. You might also recognize, well, I'm going to take 6 and I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal of 1/7, which is simply 7. So 6 times 7 equals 42 as your final answer. So how many months would it take them to use it all? If they use 1/7 of a ton each month, would be 42 months. In this problem here, we have at a restaurant, 6 people were at a table when the waiter brought out 1/5 of a bowl of cheese dip. If they split the bowl evenly, how much would each person get? So notice what they have here. 6 people were at a table when the waiter brought out 1/5 of a bowl of cheese dip. So what's the whole amount we have? Well, we're already starting with 1/5. That's what we're breaking now. So imagine if you were at a dinner table and you only have 1/5 of that cheese bowl left, but all 6 people around the table want a little piece and everyone wants an equal piece. Well, now you want to determine how much is everyone getting of that cheese dip. So notice you're starting with 1/5 as your whole. That's all the cheese dip you have left. And now you're dividing that by 6 because each person wants an equal piece of that cheese dip. So now when we divide, we have 1/5, and we're going to multiply by the reciprocal of 6, which is 1/6. So really, each person is only getting 1/30 of that cheese dip. So imagine that little amount of cheese dip left at your table, and every single person wants an equal amount. They're only going to actually get 1/30 of that original dip, of the whole dip. And 1/30 would be your final answer. So really, each person is only getting an extremely small amount, maybe just like 1 spoonful of this cheese dip, not even. And that's all that's going to be left. So everybody has one little try of that cheese dip. But again, notice each person was only getting 1/30 of the cheese dip. Your goal when you have word problems involving dividing that will require you to divide fractions is to always first identify your whole. What is that whole amount that you are working with in the problem? And then determine how are you dividing that? What are you dividing that by? How many equal pieces do you want for each person or each thing in that problem? So try that when you are working on today's problems. As always, you can refer back to this video on dividing fractions at any time to help you with today's activities.